What the average Nigerian says during political discussions might actually be coming true after all. You hear things like, these corrupt politicians will one day sell Nigeria. They are actually trying to legally sell Nigeria right now. The National Assembly is currently on recess. When they resume, they will start deliberations on all the proposed constitutional amendments. All patriots must familiarize themselves with all the proposed constitutional amendments so as to decide on the next line of action if Nigerians will need to protest to show the National Assembly members that they don't like certain constitutional amendments, or if they will sit back and watch their country be sold to others. Yes, and considering the wave of the camp to APC, it seems it is only remaining around maybe 2 or 3 senators for them to have 2/3 of members in the Senate. So with that huge number, they can achieve whatever constitutional amendment they want. They will pass it at the National Assembly and now do what they can to make sure they achieve 2/3 in the state assemblies. It's a pity that PDP has truly become an appendage of APC, like many say in Nigeria. This is actually true, considering the fact that PDP started this current assembly with about 45 senators. Yes, but today, nearly half of them, or even about half of them, have decamped to APC. It doesn't make any sense that people have voted on a particular party and they abandon that party, abandon everyone that voted for them and decamp to another party. This is too selfish. Politicians don't care about anyone except themselves. Look at Senate President Godswill Akpabio, for instance. He hasn't used his position in APC in government to influence the construction of a seaport in Akwa Ibom State, his home state. Constructing a new seaport in Akwa Ibom State will ensure the diversification of commerce in Nigeria. Everything seems to be concentrated in the West, Lagos in particular. Despite Lagos having 3 major ports in Nigeria, Tinubu also approved the construction of another port in Badagry, making it the 4th port when it comes into operation. It's not only Akwa Ibom State that deserves a seaport in southern Nigeria. All the other states that have access to the sea, including the ones that are landlocked, states like Abia that have access to the sea through a river, they all deserve seaports. Because the more seaports you have, the more employment you create, the more you diversify commerce and the economy. Yes, if everything is concentrated in Lagos or in a particular state, Abuja, elsewhere, what it means is that people living in the hinterland and other states where the services are not available will be forced to migrate to the state where the services are available. That will obviously lead to overpopulation and forcing the entire country to depend on one state. And who knows if a natural disaster strikes that place, not that anyone is wishing that, but if the disaster affects commerce, that means we are looking at a recession in Nigeria because there is no other alternative where you can receive these type of services. This does not only include seaports but also airports. Going by the recent approval by the Federal Executive Council of more than 900 billion naira to be used to renovate many airports in Nigeria, Murtala Mohammed International got more than 700 billion out of that huge sum, which is equivalent to $500 million, to be used to renovate the old Terminal 1, which was built in the 70s. By now, you might be wondering whether all these are connected to constitutional amendments. That's all these infrastructure already mentioned. They are actually connected because one man at the top decides who gets what. It's not supposed to be so in a federal system. In Nigeria, the way they play politics is so overbearing to the extent that it overshadows and negatively affects the economy. Under normal circumstances, anyone can build a port. Any state can decide to build a port. Just get funding. All the necessary approvals that are needed must come automatically and on time too from the federal agencies. It doesn't need to be politicized. One man doesn't have any right to sit on it and not approve a seaport by a state. The state governor or whoever is in charge in the state is also acting to protect the interest and promote commerce in his state. So another man somewhere should not sit there, whether the president or anybody, sit there and be sitting on the approval. Instead of approving it under 1 week, they will be sitting on the approval for many years. And justice delayed is justice denied. It means that if someone is sitting on approval that is supposed to be given in 2 days or 1 week, they haven't given that approval for many years, it means they have denied the approval. So if the constitution cannot guarantee a fair system and a truly federal system, then it's of no use. And going by how every National Assembly since 1999 has always tried to amend the 1999 Constitution, it shows that the 1999 Constitution is not a truly federal constitution. Yes, after all, it was given to us by the military. So one would argue, instead of all these piecemeal amendments, isn't it time Nigerians assemble to produce a true people's constitution? We shouldn't be running around circles. We should focus on building our nation. Now, before we see the proposed amendments, all true patriots, like already said, must read these amendments by themselves. You cannot claim to be a patriot and a lover of your country, but you can't spare a few minutes to read something that would affect your life going forward. Then, it means you are not a true patriot. Maybe you are an accidental one, like they say in Nigeria. Another word is for people who are hoping that Tinubu will amend the constitution in such a way that there will be regional government. Well, this is not trying to mock the people, but no one steals power to benefit anyone. It's only for his own benefit and his associates. Going through the proposed amendments, you will see that they are not only taking more power from the states, they are also making sure that the entire political structure in Nigeria is under the control of one man. It's actually laughable how some people fall for propaganda and narratives. How some people willfully become useful idiots, propagating narratives. How in the world can someone dream that Tinubu will amend the constitution to give Nigerians regional government? Do you think that Tinubu, who even wants more powers to himself, will now give you some of his powers? It's not possible. Someone that sees himself as a king, as a monarch, you want him to give powers to the state. Yes, you might argue that the proposed state police is part of devolution of power from the federal to the states, but are they also going to reduce the federal allocation to the federal government? Because right now that the police is under the federal government pays their salaries, all emoluments of the police, including retirement benefits. So if going forward they amend the law to create state police, are they going to remove that federal allocation that the federal government used to pay and take care of the police? Are they now going to move that federal allocation to the states so that they can be able to take care of the police when they form their different state police? Meanwhile, if they truly want to create a state police, they must make sure the governor doesn't have the control of the police. They must make sure the police is independent by making the office of the Commissioner of Police an elective position. All officers that qualify for the position must contest the position. They must prove to Nigerians living in that state why they should be elected to become Commissioner of Police. That way, the police can be truly independent, not acting on the orders of the governor, and the allocation should come directly to them so as to remove political manipulation. As of today, the Office of the Commissioner of Police, the Office of the IG, the Office of the Chief of Staff, and other such positions are already political positions. So they should just take it a bit further by making sure these offices become elective positions. Now, let's see some of the proposed major constitutional amendments. Let's start with this one, the citizenship and indigenship. That citizenship, they want to make it for sale now. Yes, any foreigner going forward, that's if this constitutional amendment passes, any foreigner can just make an investment and become a Nigerian citizen. Just like it's already available in some Caribbean countries and some other parts of the world, when you pay as low as $100,000 to obtain their passport and citizenship. So they are trying to make it easy for anyone, no matter where you come from. Just make an investment in Nigeria. Of course, the amount of investment is not specified. They will do that with another bill. They will say maybe $1 million or maybe $10 million. If you make the investment, you just obtain Nigerian citizenship and have the rights of a Nigerian. So you can understand the implication of this. Right now, many foreigners that are not Nigerians have a lot of influence on Nigerian policies, budgets, loans, even GMO. Yes, are we even supposed to be arguing about GMO? Let's even forget about all the health implications, the ones that are proven or not. Let's forget about all that. Let's focus on the sovereignty of Nigeria. Are we supposed to depend on foreigners for our food? The GMO seeds do not germinate. Once you plant them, you must go back to your supplier to buy another one for a new planting season. You cannot replant their seeds. So are we supposed to depend on foreigners, foreign companies for our seeds? Where are our organic seeds? So this is actually very dangerous for Nigeria. If you depend on someone for your food, that means the person can manipulate you for other gains. That means the person can introduce artificial scarcity in your country because he is the owner of the seeds. Yes, you don't produce them. Once they succeed in wiping out the organic seeds available in Nigeria that reproduces till eternity, you plant them, you take the seeds, you replant, you continue planting. Once these seeds are wiped out, then there is serious danger. Now, the second one is electoral reforms. They want to take more powers from the states in this one. If it passes, going forward, INEC will be responsible for conducting local government elections. Not that the current system is very fair. If you look at all the results in local government elections across the states, especially under this administration, it has always been the party in power winning everything. A huge example is what happened in Lagos recently, where the Independent Electoral Commission barred many candidates from contesting. On their own, without court orders, they just removed names of opposition candidates from contesting the election. And they even went further to print ballots that didn't include all parties. In some polling units, you come there, they will tell you it's only APC or PDP that are contesting here. You go to another polling unit, you might see 3 names. In fact, there were polling units where only APC appeared on the ballot. So you can imagine such a system. They are the law unto themselves. If they truly want to amend electoral laws in Nigeria, they must include electronic collation of results. If they don't include that, then we are running around in circles. This is what is obtainable in Western countries. They don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just copy what others have done. How simple. The excuse that it is prone to hacking, blah blah blah, no. Others do it. Spend that money and you get the results. If they don't include electronic collation of results, which will ultimately remove the power to declare someone winner by any returning officer, whether the INEC chairman or state returning officer. Once the results are collated electronically, everyone will be monitoring to see who won the election. All it remains now is for a judge to affirm the results. Affirmation doesn't mean declaring someone winner. It simply means that the judge will check all the votes to make sure that they conform with the laws. Yes, if it is where someone is required to make 2/3, the judge will affirm, okay, truly the person made 2/3. Affirmation means the results are valid, not a declaration that someone won. The winner already knows he won the election, but not all elections are calculated based on the highest votes. The presidency, for instance, you need to win 25% in 2/3 of the states. So all these should be affirmed by a judge. Maybe under one day, looking at the results, they will check it. A few hours is enough to affirm the results that it is valid. That's the end. And if we start using electronic collation, that means results of elections will be known at the close of election. No more taking several days to collate results. Also, you can imagine the savings in logistics. There's nothing like taking results from polling units to ward collation center, to local government collation center, and to state and to Abuja. No, you don't need all that. Once you cast your vote at the polling unit, and after closing of voting at the polling unit, the polling officer will just punch the numbers. Bam, 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 bam. The system will automatically be collating the results. If it is presidential, it will be collating it. Legislative, whichever election, it will be automatically collating everything. There's nothing like moving from here to here. No, it cuts all that waste. Another important amendment is the judicial reforms. They want to remove the Chief Justice as the chairman of the NJC. While that sounds good, the real reform should be that the NJC shouldn't exist in the first place. Judges should be subjected to the law like other citizens. They shouldn't be running under the NJC. They shouldn't be self-regulating. No, if a judge commits a crime, he should be charged to court. Nothing like the NJC deciding whether to punish the person or not, or whether to recommend a judge to the executive branch for appointment and all that. No, they must make major positions like president of the appeal court. All of them should be elective positions. They should tell Nigerians what they want to do, their plan, how they want to reform the judiciary. Nigerians should be able to see their past judgments, how they decided many cases, so that they can decide what they will do in future. What is going on in the judiciary today is nothing to write home about. So like already said, the office of the chief judge of a state should be made an elective position, and all high court judges in the state qualify for that position. If the tenure of the current one expires, all high court judges have the right to contest that position. Yes, and there should be nothing like promoting a judge from a high court to appeal court, from appeal court to Supreme Court. No, everyone should be independent. If you start your job as a high court judge, you will retire as a high court judge. No one should promote you beyond that level. If you start as a magistrate, you will retire as a magistrate. That's how it should work. So remember to research the proposed constitutional amendments and avail yourself with all the information there so that you will know and participate in all the happenings in the country. Not after they succeed in passing all these laws, you start complaining, hey, look at what these people are doing to the country. You have the time now to read about them, and if there needs to be a protest, to tell the National Assembly members that Nigerians don't want this. We don't want anyone to be able to purchase Nigerian citizenship. More than 60% of Nigerian citizens are poor. They can't even have access to basic services in the country, and they're already selling citizenship to foreigners. So you can imagine what will happen. Foreigners will come here and be lords over you that actually own the country. Thanks for watching.